quickly and said that they lacked leadership. I'm going to agree with that 100%. Joseph talked about there being a lack of a plan. I think that it's really important that you need to have, when you have a group like that that's going on such a tough mission, that you know who the leaders are, and that leader can articulate the values for the organization or for that group. And that way, no matter what situation you come across, you can somehow navigate it together with that as a foundation. So if we apply this to our organizations, number one, in any situation, we need a strong leader who can articulate values, the values of the group. We need a vision, some shared values that get us to a mission or a goal for the work that we're doing. And number two, we need norms in place. We need to have a policy set forward so we know what's expected of everyone in the group. So we can take the same message about being a strong leader and now apply it to creating an ethical culture, right? We still need an ethical culture. We still need a leader who can articulate values. We need someone who can establish the norms and someone who can express that vision as it relates to the values of that group. That is how you create a strong ethical culture. And I hope that you, and so these are some of the points that I were hoping that you will learn. So there's some very key takeaways from this that I want you to remember. First of all, I'm going to agree full 100% that there was a lack of leadership. What you had was a group of people who came together that had a common goal in mind, but it was an individual goal. It wasn't a group effort. They just happened to be traveling together. Sherpas are more like porters in the Himalayas. They are not necessarily leaders who guide you on your tour. They just kind of help you with all of your belongings get from one point to the next, but they're certainly not telling you what your travel should be. So there was no one who really came out and expressed themselves as a leader. And because of that, there was no group cohesiveness. I think some people tried to do a little bit of something. I think everybody tried to do a little bit of something, but no one came out with an overarching vision or a plan or a strategy of what should be done in that situation. In fact, there weren't even any norms for the group when they set out on this journey. So it wasn't like they said, okay, here are the possible things that could go wrong, and in these situations, this is how we're going to react. Because if there were norms or policies in place, then they would have known how to react. And we see that in our organizations. So we refer to norms, or we refer to them as policies in our organizations. So we know, based on the culture and the policies in an organization, how we're going to react in a given situation. And if something new comes up that's outside of those policies or norms, we have a tendency to have some frame of reference of something that's similar that could lead us to a path of correct behavior. In this situation, we didn't have that. But more importantly, the role of the leader is not just to point which direction they should be going or what they should do in a difficult situation if they come across someone who is very ill and could die without your help, what they would do. A leader is more than just someone who tells everyone what to do, right? Because the bigger the organization is, the harder it is to be there to tell everyone what to do and to give that direction. What you want to do is inspire people to know what to do in a situation in order to achieve a vision that you all buy into. So I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite authors. I think that he has the heart of a poet. And I've never met him, I've never seen a picture, and I know nothing about this man. But in the book by Kouzes and Posner called The Truth About Leadership, so two gentlemen who are among my favorite authors, and if you have not read their material in your other books, in your other classes, I encourage you to pick up any of their books on leadership because I think they're phenomenal authors and human beings. But the book, The Truth About Leadership, is among my favorite leadership books. Although I will admit that after studying leadership for as long as I have been, I have plenty. But anyway, in this book, they quote an Italian businessman, and of course I may be partial to an Italian, but however, he says that as a leader, my job first is to know what's important to me, in me personally, and how that relates to my role. So I'm paraphrasing this. Secondly, I need to listen to everyone else in the organization to find out what's important to them. And finally, I need to create a vision that any one of us could call our own. And I think that's so important. When we really look at the role of a leader, we look at the vision they have for the organization and the people in that organization. And that vision sets the tone for the organization. And that is how you know how to interpret any given situation. That, along with the policies, along with the culture, all of those things come into play.